You're listening to the Thomas Talk Podcast with Josh
and John.
You can listen to us on YouTube,
Spotify,
Apple Podcasts,
Google Play,
Anchor,
and SoundCloud. All right, hey, welcome to this brand new podcast called I Blink Once, and yep, I just blinked, so the podcast is over. So we're going to move on to Thomas Talk, and I'm John, and Josh is here as well.
I'm glad we moved away from that, John. That did not work.
Yes. Blinking is so stupid, I'm not going to do it for the rest of this podcast.
Why? Okay. In the model series of Thomas, the trains never, they never blinked or anything.
Yeah, it was so sexist of them.
Yeah. I mean, don't their eyes get dry or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember someone in elementary school once said to me, it's, Thomas is creepy. It's better now that the mouths move. And I was like, oh, you've seen season 12. Like, season 12 just came out.
And now everything moves.
Was that weird when season 12 first came out and, suddenly the faces moved?
It wasn't weird then. Looking back on it now, it is very weird, especially because a lot of the alignment between, the face and the model is actually really terrible.
Yeah, it's rotated a little bit too much. Or I always noticed that, though. I always noticed it was rotated a little bit much. Or I always noticed that, let's say, the faces were ugly. The faces actually were kind of weird.
I mean, they were different, but it was a good kind of different. The one thing that was really creepy is when you would see a shot where they didn't need the CGI, so it was just the model face again, and it was like, oh, the character's dead now. That's great.
Or the CGI was too expensive. Yeah, it's weird to see pictures of Hank, with a face mask and an eye mechanism and everything. It's like, no, that's not right. That's not right.
But I'll tell you what is right. We have a guest here.
Oh, no. Who is it?
I don't know. You tell me.
You know that feeling when there's someone you haven't seen in a very long time and
I'm feeling it in every hair on my head.
And you have bitter feelings towards them because they just kind of left you high and dry. They you woke up and they were gone. The kids are screaming, asking where their daddy is.
At least 90 times, Josh. At least 90 times.
I know. This is how I feel about Daniel Model Railway 13.
It's Callan Castle now. How we doing?
Callan Castle 13? Oh, he's gone and changed his name, too.
That's right.
Everything's changing.
He's gone through an identity crisis.
Especially the voice. Yes, I've gone through plenty of identity crises.
You're telling me. Look at your hair.
Yeah.
I mean, this... Dan and I go way, way back. There was a time where Dan and I talked basically every single day. Dan was the first person I called when I got my first girlfriend.
I remember that. That didn't last too long.
It lasted longer than
he's coming in swinging today.
Hey, it lasted longer than any of your relationships, okay?
Actually. Here's the thing with that. Didn't you break up with her?
Yeah, I broke up with her. Well, yeah. I don't know if she was crazy. I don't know if she's listening. Maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
You told me literally the other day that she watches your videos.
Well, yeah.
Well, if you're watching this, thanks for watching. And I'm sorry things didn't work out. Let's get to what about what's this dude's name? This train we're talking about?
This train?
Terrence.
This Terrence.
Oh, Wilson.
That's it. Yes. Yeah, that one. He's the green one.
Yeah, Wilson's the green one. That's right.
The green and
It's not inaccurate. There was actually an episode where Wilson became green. FYI.
Was there actually?
Yeah.
I never saw too much of that.
Because Hoot's colorblind.
What?
Which one was that?
Oh, that's the wrong train show.
I only seen 3 episodes.
Well, with the American version, I don't blame you. But
yeah.
But Dan, it has been a while. Many viewers may remember you from the Thomas Talk days, where you were
the Callie Dan days. Those two.
Callie Dan.
Talk about those.
Nobody remembers
Callie Dan
that.
forever. Everybody like, comment, subscribe if you're all for Callie Dan.
See, I thought I was clever because my last name in YouTube world is Fan, and that rhymes with Dan. Yep. Get it?
Yep.
We used to play Roblox.
Started a bunch of Roblox games, and my voice was a squeaker back then.
I miss
and
it.
it's changed.
I miss it
It's
so
crazy.
much.
So if your voice is, because I feel like I met up with you like, it only feels like a couple years ago now, and I remember at one point you started telling like a stupid fake Thomas episode, and you were putting on this deep voice, but now that just is your voice now.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Okay, so long ago, I saw a documentary about Morgan Freeman. So what he says, right, and it's crazy, but he says that yawning a lot just does something to your vocal cords and it just makes your voice deep. But the other thing he does, right, is he used to fake his voice during his, like, the transition of puberty where your voice deepens. He would make it, like, so much lower than it had to be. So it would just, like, adapt to being low. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to try that. So eventually it did. Just, like, it ended up lowering the way I wanted it to. So I just, like, evolved myself.
Dan, did you do it for a female?
Did I do it for a female? Of course not. I'm my own person.
Okay, well you changed.
I did it for myself.
This is good.
Self-love, man.
Well, I only changed my hair for a female, and you, Dan.
Well, I appreciate that. That worked. It worked for me.
Yeah, he's back on
the little known fact is that Dan and I are like semi-legally married.
Semi-legally. We got married in Roblox.
Yeah, Robloxia High School.
Class of 14, baby.
Yeah. Yep.
There was a church in the game, and we went to the church and got married.
It's beautiful.
None of our families
were there. It's funny how life
there.
works. Yeah, no, the kids were there, though.
The kids were there? All
that
of
was
them?
somehow just spawned out of nowhere.
Baby eBay? All of them.
Baby eBay and Amazon. They were both there.
We're not here to talk about the kids that miss you. We're here to talk about Thomas the Tank Engine.
That guy. Yeah.
And I mean, like, you're not as involved in the community anymore. And I guess part of what
I have not been.
I mean, that's what I wanted to talk to you about a little bit was why you're not involved anymore. Like, what kind of drove you away? Like, how do you didn't grow out of Thomas because you still like it.
I can't diss Thomas.
But it became less of a part of your life, which is interesting. I don't know how I could live without Thomas being part of my life.
Try it. It's fun, actually.
Well,
yeah.
It's not like
it's different.
It's not like I wear a Thomas the Tank Engine shirt every day I go to work. But
even though you do,
but coming home and like seeing my Thomas display case just makes me happy. It gives me comfort. Yeah. But I guess, when was the time, Dan, that you stopped watching Thomas the Tank Engine? Like, when did you kind of start to phase out of it?
So, I would say after whenever the Lost Treasure movie came out.
Seriously?
Was, I think was it 2016?
15.
Right? 50. Oh God, it's been forever.
That is like that was like the golden era of CGI Thomas.
That was good. And then I saw a couple of the was it Arsdale Railway, the episodes with that, and then I don't know if that came after.
You haven't seen all of season 20?
No.
Oh, you are missing out on so much. Season 21, you can forget, but
the whole Big World Adventure thing, I saw like 10 minutes of that and I just stopped. I'm just like, this isn't the same.
I'm surprised you made it that
Nothing
far.
new. No, it was just so bad. And I usually watch the specials. I used to watch them as they came out and it just didn't feel right anymore. It wasn't the same thing as I used to remember. It just didn't feel like Thomas.
Did you watch any of the Big World specials?
I have not.
Don't waste your time.
I just, no. I guess they're like bouncing off the rails now or whatever. Are they doing?
They have flying cars. They have flying cars. They have bridges that walk.
They go to China, even though it's actually just Sodor with some palm trees and a redressed color palette.
They have a Ferris wheel that's just like a scaled up Stevens wheel, and then the seats are red passenger carriages. And
are you joking?
No,
I'm actually not even slightly.
That is the special I had to stop watching halfway through. I couldn't, like, the first scene is a hover car flies over Sodor.
Okay, this is the problem that I have. The main thing, and this is just like why it doesn't work anymore. The whole problem with, because the series is tanking, no pun intended, tanking.
Yeah.
but the whole thing is that there's too many trains and vehicles now, and they're just being like thrown out. That it's just like there's too many characters, and the fact that kids wouldn't know who, say, like Edward is now because he's just, he was a supporting character in like the second series, and like it's a pretty, he had a prominent role when we were kids because we grew up with the oldest stuff, but as the more we like grew up, the more stuff was being introduced, and that's fine because we already knew the basis.
Yeah.
But if you're a kid watching it, like you just flip up the channel, whatever it airs on now, because I don't even think it airs on PBS.
Oh wow, you're behind.
Really?
Oh, it went to Nick Jr. and then it went to Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix now.
Yeah.
Does that mean they have like the old stuff on?
Nope.
Nope. That's on Amazon though, I think, right?
It's on Amazon Prime, but Netflix just has season 23.
Yep.
I knew they had it on Amazon Prime, like the old stuff, but why wouldn't they put that on Netflix?
I don't know. The problem with Big World is that it's just so unfocused. It doesn't know what it wants to be. Like, half the time Thomas is international, and then half the time Thomas is on Sodor, and the timelines don't line up. Like, it doesn't actually make any sense.
Well, the thing is that, I think it honestly feels like, based on what you're telling me, is that Thomas is his own character, and he just travels. So, like, kids would think, say, Percy is just, like, some engine you'll never see again because he's just there. And then Thomas goes around, and then some other train is there. And then just, like... So they know Thomas, but they're not going to remember these other trains because why would they need to? They think they're never going to be relevant. And it's just kind of like... I don't know if you guys have probably watched Pokemon, right?
No.
Like the older...
No. I know the theme song for some reason, but I've never seen the show.
Yeah. So like, it's very much like that. I remember I've been a fan of that show when I was growing up, but like because I had the cards, the toys, and all that. But the thing is that, and it brings me back to what I mentioned earlier. There's too many characters to the point where it's just like if somebody's just getting into it, they're gonna get so overwhelmed that it's just not gonna be worth it. Because like Thomas should have just had like this is why it worked in like the 90s, I would say, in like the early 2000s, is because you had the main like I don't know how many were there. There were 11 characters, right? The mainline trains, and then you had like the mountain railway, smaller engines, and you had the carriages, and then the road vehicles, and there weren't many of those back then. And that was fine. That was plenty. That was honestly like too much.
Yeah.
That was honestly like a ton. You could make a lot of toys with that. That's fine.
I don't know if it's the fact that there's too many characters. I think it's the fact that they've completely lost the essence of what Thomas is. Like, the way that I describe Big World to people who aren't familiar with Thomas is way back in like when they did Tale of the Brave. The Thomas Round was doing really, really well, and they were making a lot of money. And they went, Trackmaster is our best-selling line. If we made the Trackmaster trains cheaper to produce, then we would make more money. So they rebranded Trackmaster, and Trackmaster sales started to decline because they thought kids wouldn't notice, but kids notice bad quality toys. So then they started rebranding all the other lines, like Take and Play and Wooden Railway, and the merchandise sales just kept going down and down and down because they kept changing it and decreasing the quality. And they went, well, the toys are probably not selling because the show isn't relevant anymore. And the show was still doing well. The show was actually selling really well. The ratings were great. Kids loved it, from what I could tell. Mm-hmm. The older fans loved it, from what I could tell. Season 20 is like the perfect for everyone season. But they thought it was the show because they didn't want to look at the toys. So they changed the show entirely, so it doesn't even resemble anything like Thomas anymore. And then the show stopped selling. And now nothing of Thomas is selling, and they've stopped production. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, they're just done?
They're done.
Yep. Which most people, if you asked on the street, they'd only half of them would tell you yes. The other half are still in denial, saying, no, there's going to be a season 25. There's going to be more. I love Big World, Big Adventures. It's the best show ever. Please make more.
They're saying the show's on hiatus, but I think people think that means it's going to be like a year off. I wouldn't be surprised if it was another 5 years till there's a new season of Thomas, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's very different than anything we've seen before.
The show...
It's going to be in space.
No, what the show needs, like whoever runs it, I don't even know what they're doing now, but
it's not Andrew Brenner anymore.
Oh, it's not?
Nope.
What they got to realize, just with the toys in general, is that, trains are a very niche audience.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you like trains, you'll love Thomas. Not everybody is going to like Thomas. That's fine. But you can't change it into something it's not, because, Thomas is a train. He's on a railroad. Like railway, whatever, call it a railroad. He can't fly. He can't go to space. He can't travel the world. They get one throwaway line from the books where it's just like, I want to see the world, because he's stuck in a shed. He doesn't do anything.
It's not a literal thing. It means he wants to go see Sodor.
Right. He wants to see more of his own world, and that's the problem with that. There's so many lines that the I guess producers think, okay, we can take that, we can move it into something that it's not, just like make it more literal than it has to be. Like I remember Adventure Begins, they had Henry actually being scared of the rain, which is a cool little dynamic, but they changed it too much, I guess.
Yeah, they took it too literally.
They took it too literally because he's only afraid of getting, the paint destroyed. That's all he cared about.
Yeah.
Not the fact that he's actually scared of water. That is just ridiculous.
Yeah. I think
he's literally full of water. How could he
exactly.
be afraid of that?
He runs on water. Fills up on water.
I think that's a good point, because I like what you said about Thomas as a train. Like, they were trying to make toys where Thomas is an astronaut, Thomas is a robot, Thomas is a dinosaur. And then they're like, why aren't these selling? Because people want to buy toy trains. If they wanted to buy robots, they'd go find Wall-E. But, but you're right? I mean, fans of Thomas know a lot about railways. And I think we're about to prove that right now. Because John has a game for us where I will let John take this away.
Okay. So, I'm dying, but we'll play this game. So, I call this no right answers. So, I am going to describe a thing from Thomas in the most vague and wrong way I possibly can. And you guys have to guess what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And are we going to have a time limit?
Let's do a minute. And are there clues we can ask for?
Yeah, you can ask but the clues are going to be just as vague. So the idea is that I'm thinking really abstract, and you have to kind of extrapolate from that, what is he actually talking about from Thomas?
Okay. It's going to be Dan versus me, and then if neither of us get it, I guess John's just bad at this.
John just wins.
Yeah, well, I am definitely. I'm just bad at everything. But anyway, here we go. I will start the timer from when I stop my initial explanation. Okay. So, first off, this episode was really offensive and just wasn't inclusive at all. And honestly, Thomas almost died because of a plant.
Henry's Happy Coal.
No.
Is it
Is this CGI or models? Because
it was a very physical episode, yes.
Okay.
Episode? Oh dear.
And there was a very interesting character dynamic, because the villain is pretending to be friendly. He's among the masses.
Thomas and the Billboard?
Nope.
You said plant. It really threw me in for a loop.
Yeah.
Like a plant?
Thomas almost died for the sake of a plant. Okay? And on top of all that, this
blooming mess.
No, just randomly, a fat stranger shows up. He crashes the whole party, and he tries to give things to children.
Oh, is it the one with Loam? Double Trouble?
No. It's been a minute. Okay, Thomas and the Missing Christmas Tree.
Oh.
I have not watched that episode in a very long time. I've just made people very ashamed.
I love the old Christmas episodes.
Okay, John won.
I did. Okay.
Is there another one?
There's one more. Okay. So this character is she's from this extremely powerful and corrupt family. She's racist. She is technologically illiterate, and she seems to be kidnapped for extended periods of time.
Lexi.
No.
Nia.
Annie and Clarabelle.
No, it's a person.
Daisy.
Oh, it's a person.
Yeah.
Dowager Hat.
Very mean, very, very just bratty.
Miss Jenny.
And insults people. She makes assumptions about everyone.
Is it that singer?
Alicia Body?
No.
One, yeah.
No.
Dame Bella, is that what her name is?
No, this character, she's just, right, like, so her family is, like, so corrupt and so powerful, she can basically just run around and do whatever she wants.
The Queen.
Is it Topham Hatt's kid, like the girl one?
Yes, it's Bridget Hatt.
Are you serious? Dan.
I can't believe I knew that one.
My favorite part there was technologically illiterate. Is it electric?
Oh,
that's it.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
soul.
And that was the pilot of this game that proves I'm way too cryptic and not funny enough. So
Corrupt family.
I like that.
No, that was good. That was really good.
Well, that was fun. I liked that, John. Yeah. Dan knows more than me, even though he stopped watching Thomas at Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure.
Yep.
Why that was, again, I still don't get that. That was the show's peak. Like, there are people who don't like Legend of the Lost Treasure, but I think Tale of the Brave is and always will be my favorite special. But why Lost Treasure? That doesn't seem like one where fans go, that's it, I'm out.
I guess it kind of just felt like an ending anyway. And I saw, whatever came after. You got to remind me of the name of that one.
Great Race?
No, not that one.
Journey Beyond Sodor?
That's it, yeah.
Oh, dear.
I remember, Great Race, I forgot about that one. I did see like half of that because my mom my mom bought the DVD and decided, you want to watch this. So I'm just like, all right. And it just...
Wait, okay. I remember... I remember years ago, though, and I've always felt guilty about this. And hearing you say that you stopped watching at Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure freaked me out a little bit. Because I remember I saw Legend of the Lost Treasure before any of my friends, because I was in the UK when it was in theaters. So I went to the theaters. And I made up, I like started like a little serious. And then I was like, yeah, there's a moment where, I was like, are they actually going to do this? And it's the moment where Sailor John's going down with the treasure chest into the water. And I thought, I thought they were going to kill him. And then I was like, I'm just going to tell Dan they killed him. It won't make a difference.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I told you all these different lies.
And I'll tell you what they were, okay? The first one, and by the way, I'm like just so angry at this point. I'm just like, don't tell me, please. I just want to see this movie. I don't want any spoilers.
Oh, I feel that.
So what he tells me, right? He's just like, the first one, I love this one because I was so excited for it.
The first one.
The first one out of like five that I remember.
Held on to these. Like, this has traumatized you.
This one was because I remember from the trailer, Thomas looks like really scraped up, like just not himself. Josh tells me that, so Topham Hatt gets so mad at Thomas that he gets a little scraper and just scrapes his number one off and paints it on Ryan. And he's got to work his way up. Thomas is like, his branch line is, his branch line is taken away. His coaches are taken away. And getting onto that topic, he tells me that Ryan is brought to the railway to replace Thomas because Ryan hates him for whatever reason. And that the other thing was that Ryan is in a partnership with Sailor John. And the fact that, but he didn't even tell me the reason for it. Yeah, I just kind of went along with it because reasons. it made sense.
It did.
It just made sense. It made sense that because the guy, Ryan didn't look. He looked like he was that guy who was just like, I'm gonna steal your life.
And they got Eddie Redmayne to voice him, and Eddie Redmayne always plays the evil character.
Yeah, no, that's because I remember seeing a movie with him, and I was just like, "This gotta be it. This is the movie. You're gonna finally have a mean steam engine." So, I was thinking of that, and then this part that I just love. Josh tells me that Ryan takes Annie and Clarabelle, and just tries to push them off a cliff, right? So Thomas has to chase after them, gets blamed.
Off the cliff?
Off a cliff. So Thomas has to grab them and just be like, "Don't do that," And then
he saved Annie and Clarabelle?
This is what you told me because I remember Thomas. I guess he just he links up to Annie and Clarabelle, puts on the brakes, and then Topham Hatt is just like, "What are you doing? Are you pushing Annie and Clarabelle off the ledge?" She's like, no. In the wrong place at the wrong time. It wasn't me, I swear. And just like, no, I can't have this anymore. I'm taking them away. I'm taking everything from you. Give me your phone.
So you just started watching the movie expecting all of this to happen.
Yeah,
that's going on to that. I buy the movie as soon as it comes out on iTunes or whatever it was. And here I am, just like, oh, okay, we're introduced to Ryan. And I had no concept of time because I didn't see how far along I was in the movie. And I'm just like, okay. And then my finger slips. I'm 45 minutes into the movie. Ryan is this wholesome character. And I'm just like, what are they going to do? They're either going to make this major plot twist that Ryan is this really bad character that I've been looking forward to.
With 45 minutes left, he's going to kill Annie and Clarabelle.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, when is he gonna push them off the bridge? When are they gonna have that heart-wrenching scene where Thomas's number one is just destroyed? When is that gonna happen? I'm looking forward to it. I got my snacks, I got my drink, and I'm looking at it. It's just nothing's happening. Just like we got this chase scene. I'm just like, okay, when's Ryan gonna be like?
It's in the background. It's in the background.
It's in the background. I see Annie and Clarabelle falling off a cliff, and I'm just like, that's it. That's it. That's the one. But no, it was a good movie, but I was expecting too much.
See, Dan, now it makes sense why you stopped talking to me. I was wondering this entire time, why did Dan stop talking to me? And now I get it. Now I get it. But Dan, I do believe in redemption because you're here right now and we're still talking.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
We're having a great time.
Make it work for the kids.
But
yeah, the kids brought us together.
Well, Dan, I still love you, and you're still welcome home all the time.
Yep.
I miss you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for joining us and talking
with us.
Thanks
for having me.
Bringing back your past traumas. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. It was good to be here.
Okay.
Great to be here.
Well, this was fun, John.
Yes.
Catching up with old demons.
Oh, yes. Oh, you mean old Danman's words? I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to push Annie and Clarabelle off a bridge.
You know what, Dan? I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. I'm on my way down to the States right now, and I'm just leaving the door right now.
Okay.
Tune in next time on Thomas Talk, where he goes and kills the guy, and tune in and do the things, and goodbye.
I think I see Josh's car.